So I'm sat here in the Twizy waiting on a school run, so I thought I would do a quick video to talk about my recent short test drive in a Tesla Model S. So I mentioned this in the iPace video, and actually test drove the Model S before the iPace, but if you looked at other videos on the channel, obviously I've got the Twizy, which is an EV, but I don't call it a real EV, it's just like a toy, a bit of fun. But I want to get an electric vehicle to replace my 4 Series, so basically a family-sized electric vehicle. So many people are obviously familiar with Tesla. They've got the Model S, the Model X, and obviously the recent Model 3, which was especially the more affordable Tesla, but is only very shortly becoming available in the UK, and it's the kind of more premium priced one, about £55,000. And up until recently, I kind of decided that there was no way I was going to buy a Tesla, because I think it was too much money compared to the competition. I still think that is true in many ways, but I was speaking to one of the subscribers on the channel, Michael, and he was looking at I think he was looking at the new 40 kilowatt Nissan Leaf, and then he realised that, and I think spending like 10 grand more or something, he could get a used lowish mileage Tesla Model S, and he kind of mentioned that to me, and I was like, oh well, 10 grand, and, but two versions. So then I started looking, and like I guess all things with me, I kind of get a little bit obsessive with some of it, and so if I was going to get a Model S, I definitely want the facelift version. That puts the cost up. I've never really had high mileage cars, so I want a really low mileage car. That puts the price up. Just because it's facelift also doesn't necessarily mean it's got the latest autopilot, so I want autopilot version 2. That puts the price up. Also, even though the 19-inch wheels are standard are most economical, I'd rather have the 21-inch wheels. That puts the price up and has about a 10% knock on to the range. So anyway, all those things aside, so I decided to start looking into Model S. I put my 4 Series up for sale, and yeah, so I'm trying to decide if I will spend almost double, I guess, what I was going to spend on an EV and get a more premium car, be that a Tesla or a Jaguar or the Audi e-tron or something. So yeah, so I've been looking at the used market, and I've also been looking at Tesla's own used market and inventory cars. So one of the appeals of inventory cars, I'm not really a big fan of financing loads of stuff, but Tesla right now got quite a good deal on the inventory car. So that's a new car. It's either got delivery mileage or perhaps it's ex-demonstrator. They've got a few to choose from, but they have I think it's 2.5% APR, 2.9% APR on a PCP deal. So I am armed a little bit about the PCP, even though it is a good rate. I know someone called Nick that bought one I think October time, and he got it for 1.5% APR, which is fantastic. The thing I don't like about it is, for me personally, is that basically you're just renting the car with the right to buy at the end, and so you got that big balloon payment that is basically the price of a Nissan Leaf. And you haven't got to pay that. You obviously you can just hand the car back, or use it if there's any little value left in it to trade it in against another Tesla, depending on what the guaranteed future value was, or you pay that balloon payment and take it away. So that's the other reason why I had new cars in the past, brand new cars, when company cars, and I have bought my own brand new cars before, but I always prefer now to go for a car that's about a year old, so you've missed some of that early depreciation, but you've still got manufacturer's warranty and everything. So that's really what I'm looking at. And yeah, I've gone through the PCP stuff a little bit, so I've got an idea of what my budget would be, but then so I've been speaking to the guys at Tesla. Really great, not really very pushy. I mean, obviously that's trying to make a sale, so there's a little bit of trying trying to convince you to do certain things, but not super pushy. But the problem I have is to try and get out in between work. I need about 3 or 4 hours really to do that. So an hour to get there, an hour to try and test, and there's probably an hour of all the sales negotiation stuff, and then an hour to get home. But one evening they basically said, hey look, we could get to you for like 4 or 5 o'clock ish, and let you have a drive for an hour, then we'll head home. And I'm like, wow, okay. So they actually came out to my house, which was fantastic, and brought a 75D, which is kind of what I'm looking at, because I don't need lots of range. I only do about, during the normal week, about 15 miles per day, so more than enough. And any long journey I do is about 150 miles each way, so a 75D or a 75 would get there easily and then charge to be able to come back, and I'm completely fine with that. So that's what they brought out. They brought a pearl white one out with all the carbon fibre trim and everything, autopilot version 2, had the 19-inch alloys, which again, not a big fan of, but all good. Had air suspension as well. Still not sure on the air suspension. I know they all have it now, but because I'd like to keep if I do get a test, I'll keep it longer. Air suspension is another thing that can go wrong, so I'm trying to see if I can find one that's got coils as well to test drive. But looking online, doesn't seem to be a load of difference. Obviously, the larger wheels and coil will be a slightly harsher ride, but I drive a Twizy, so I'm used to harsh riding. So yeah, they let me take it out for an hour. The guy came with me, used autopilot on the A roads. It was scary but amazing. The performance was really good, so it really shoved you back in the seat, and every time we did it, like did about 4 times, just kind of still, even though I was expecting it, wasn't kind of used to it. So even though that's only it's like 0.3 seconds I think faster than what the I-Pace was, it definitely felt a lot faster. I guess with having the Lotus, I guess, and the BMW is not slow either. It's like 5 seconds, I think, 5.8 seconds. I'm used to a fast car, so it wasn't like I was completely blown away by the speed, but it's that initial torque and the ability to accelerate so quick. It was amazing. And the other thing is, it's a big car, but it didn't feel big. There was only one time kind of fitting through a very small archway that it felt a little bit wide, but aside from that, it was really good. The sound system was really good. And actually I was really impressed at how responsive that 17-inch touch screen was, and I liked the dash layout and everything. I'm not really a big fan of the Model 3 because I would, even though my current car is saloon, now having a dog again, it would be nice to be able to have a hatch to be able to put the dog in the back. That's probably a bit safer as well. And I'm also, even though I do like kind of some minimalist look, the Model 3 is just a little bit too minimalist, and I do like the dash and everything. So the Model 3 might grow on me over the years. There's lots of cars that I didn't like that over the years that kind of grew on me, but right now I think you can get a Model S now for a similar price to what you get a new Model 3 for at some point when it comes available. So I'm just trying to factor in depreciation and everything, but I was really impressed with the storage capability, and the seats were really nice as well. I just loved how everything was kind of laid out. So in the newer models, I think it's 2016 onwards, the centre console has got additional cup holders and everything, because the ones in the armrest are a bit crap really, but everything seemed to work really well. I still think it's an amazing amount of money for a car using every day, but again, I don't do many miles, and be 40 soon, so I'm thinking this might be my second or third or fourth or fifth or whatever number midlife crisis it might be, assuming I can find one that is right. And obviously I need to sell my Forces as well, but yeah, I was impressed with the Model S, but I guess not as impressed as maybe I thought, as I probably would have one already. And I think this is a combination of my current thinking about what I spend money on, what I don't spend money on, and kind of retirement plans and everything longer term. And so I'm just not super jumping to do that, but I have been kind of adjusting some money and how I'm saving to try and accommodate to get a more premium electric vehicle over a Leaf or a Kona or Nero or something. So yeah, I think that's it really. I've got a couple of pictures that I would have put up, but yeah, I was really impressed with the Model S, and I don't really think you need anything more than that 75D unless you need the range, because all of them have amazing performance. One thing I'm trying to decide on is whether I need the dual motor or not, or whether I want the dual motor. So obviously the advantage of the dual motor is you can get the power down a lot better. Obviously it's going to be good in the wetter or snowy or icy conditions. Not we have much snow and ice in the UK really, but obviously water. We have a lot of rain, but I've seen a couple that aren't dual motor, and that saves you around £5,000 or so. So yeah, that's my current thoughts. So probably a bit of a waffling video, but I was really impressed with Tesla. I'm really impressed that they came out. I'm really impressed that they weren't too kind of pushy. Obviously I was really familiar with the car already, but yes, and the other thing I've been thinking about is obviously most of them don't come with supercharging for life anymore, so obviously all supercharge enabled, but there's a kind of a little variety on whether cars have supercharging for life. Basically anything from the beginning of 2016 up until March 2017 tends to have supercharging for life assigned to the car. After that, up until I think November 2018, they might have had free supercharging but only assigned to the owner. So once they sell it, you lose that, and obviously from now nothing has the supercharging whatsoever. So that's kind of where we are. So wait and see what happens, and yeah, I'll probably do a separate video regarding what happens in terms of what the situation is when you're trying to look at the Model S, because I did a lot of research on it, and yeah, it might be helpful for someone else if they're looking. Thanks for watching this video. A thumbs up would be really appreciated. If you're interested in other geek type videos, please consider subscribing to Spectrum Geeks. Why not also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And before you leave, why don't you check out one of these other videos that may be of interest. Thanks again for watching.